who's a very good boxer, but this is a giant Olympic gold medalist heavyweight. I mean, Anthony Joshua's
is the
terrifying.
thing that nightmares are made of.
And he's got that one-punch nuclear power.
And again, just operating on self-belief, but it isn't going to win Jake this fight. Him being ballsy is not going to win him this fight.
Joe Rogan can barely hide his shock when he breaks down the jaw-dropping size gap between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua at their face-off. He reminds everyone, Joshua isn't just big, he's a bona fide heavyweight titan and an Olympic gold medalist. Jake, on the other hand, is stepping into territory way beyond anything he's faced before. Rogan points out that Jake's previous toughest test was 47-year-old Anderson Silva, which makes this upcoming clash feel like a whole new level challenge.
Fought before was 40 years old Anderson Silva. That was the toughest guy so far you fought. You've lost to Tommy Fury, who's a very good boxer, but this is a giant Olympic gold medalist heavyweight. I mean, Anthony Joshua is
the
terrifying.
thing that nightmares are made of.
And he's got that one-punch nuclear power. One punch.
On the latest episode of The Wade Concept, the host cuts straight to the heart of Jake Paul's mindset heading into this fight. He points out that confidence is key, but there's a fine line where confidence becomes denial. According to him, Jake might be pushing that line too far. Facing Anthony Joshua isn't about hype or mindset tricks. It's a test of pure skill and raw power. Wade emphasizes that Jake can't rely on the same tactics that worked against older or less experienced fighters. Joshua hits hard, reacts fast, and reads his opponents like a book. This matchup, Wade says, is a brutal reality check, forcing Jake to step out of the world of promotion and into the harsh truth of heavyweight boxing. If Jake prepares honestly and respects that reality, he might last longer, but if he leans on delusion, he's walking straight into serious danger. Wade's warning is clear. Jake has to face the truth before he faces Joshua.
And in any other timeline, we'd all point and laugh. And some people still are pointing and laughing, but I'm just sitting here going, what has he seen that makes him believe that? Not only of what's happened to AJ, sure, he's been knocked out by another 240-pound champion of the world, but what has he seen in himself that makes him think he's going to knock out AJ when he hasn't knocked out anyone since Perry? And Mike Perry, as we know, is not a high-level boxer. He hasn't knocked out a high-level Julio Cesar Chavez, but Chavez knew to cover up and not engage. Maybe he thinks AJ will engage with him, and AJ does do some bad things in the pocket. Again, we'll save it for another video, but the only thing I can think of, and I said it at the beginning of this video, is Jake is absolutely delusional, and he's convinced himself of what's going to happen based on very outlying data, right? The Dana Dubois knockout, how he struggled with Usyk.
Who are you fighting, when, and why?
I'm fighting Anthony Joshua because I'm fucking him.
What?
I'm fighting Anthony Joshua because I'm him.
Holy shit, just let me take a second. Is this motherfucker out of
Dude, it's light work. Light work. Well, at least my good old friend Tyson Fury believes that I can win.
If Jake Paul fights Anthony Joshua, I'm putting £1 million on Jake Paul. I want some free money.
Smart man, Tyson.
I need to see a bet slip, Tyson. I know you got it like that these days. $1 million's like a, like a slight 10,000 to the rest of us, or maybe 1,000 after those couple of title fights with Alexander Usyk. But I need to see the bet slip. I saw the line when, and this is kind of crazy, I saw the line when the fight first got made, and we put it in the video. Jake was plus 800 to win. Jake has now moved to plus 650 to win. That's outright. I don't know by knockout, I'm not sure, but plus 800 was already like, okay, that's, that's a big underdog. And Joshua was like minus 1,500, but now Joshua's at minus 1,250 and Jake's at plus 650. This line is closing, and I'm wondering why. What are people seeing?
No mistake, this is the biggest fight of my career. I'm walking into the lion's den. I'm doing something that no one else has ever done before. I, Jake Joseph Paul, will knock out, defeat, and embarrass Anthony Joshua Friday, December 19th, live on Netflix. My voice cracked, I'm still going through puberty. The biggest fight of 2025. USA versus UK. He's got the belts, the size, the history, but I have the balls. Be careful what you wish for. Jake versus Joshua. Judgment Day. He has a 90% knockout ratio, but I have a 100% chance of drinking.
The moment Jake Paul steps up for the face-off, the atmosphere in the arena changes instantly. Anthony Joshua stands composed and towering, while Jake has to tilt his head just to meet Joshua's eyes. The contrast is striking without a single word being spoken. On one side is a true heavyweight champion, an Olympic gold medalist with years of elite competition behind him. On the other is a cruiserweight boxer who carved a different path into the sport. The stance itself tells a story. Joshua exudes a natural authority of someone born and bred in the heavyweight division, while Jake's attempt to match that presence can't fully mask the difference in size, reach, and sheer physical dominance.
But I would argue the pressure is now all on Anthony Joshua. Like, Jake, to me, you can tell me if you think I'm wrong. If Jake gets this the second half of the fight, Jake can celebrate. Like, Jake's won. Like, if he gets the 5th round against Anthony Joshua, to me, he has won this event.
Yeah, but it's, I mean...
You're skeptical that will happen.
I mean, aren't you? I mean, like,
I am. I'm deeply skeptical, but I'm just saying now.
The difference in this kind of fight is once you get up close and anywhere near any kind of clinch or anything, and the worst thing for Jake is it's not that just that AJ explodes within a clinch. AJ can fight long, he can fight short. I mean, the right hand he won't see. I mean, we talk about the right hand that knocked out Francis Ngannou. Forget the right hand. Worry about the uppercut on the inside. Worry about the left hook. Worry about the jab. I mean, the jab could knock him spark out. I mean, that's the reality. But if he gets hit by anything, it's over. It's just how it's going to be over. You know, are you going to get him clean, or are you going to, beat him up to a position where the ref's just going to have to jump in? But listen, if it goes 4, 5, 6 rounds, listen, good luck to him. Like I say, he's not, he's done the camps, he's done the spars. It's not like this is a guy who's never fought before. He's just well out of his depth. And to be honest, you see a few people say, we see that every week on fight cards. Do you know what I mean? But this is obviously at an extreme level.
Analyst Angelo and Josh break down the matchup with a clear-eyed perspective on skill levels in boxing. They note that Jake Paul is simply not on the same tier as fighters like Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. Both Joshua and Wilder belong to a rare class of heavyweights capable of turning a fight with a single perfectly timed moment. Their power is a combination of natural size, elite conditioning, and years of refined technique, something smaller fighters cannot replicate. While Jake's confidence and courage are notable, Angelo and Josh emphasize that bravery does not replace skill. Jake has never faced an opponent capable of delivering precise combinations with true heavyweight force while maintaining polished movement and defensive awareness. They also highlight that Jake's past call-outs of top-tier heavyweights, like Wilder, reveal a lack of understanding of the elite level. Simply surviving Joshua's power and technique is already a monumental challenge, underscoring just how steep the step up will be for Paul.
Don't think that he can compete at the highest level, and I don't think he beat the top 5, top 6 guys. But that in that weight class is where he'd be at, like say 180, 188 or 189, somewhere around there is where he'd probably compete. There's not a lot of talent there though, so he might be pretty good in those weight classes. Him competing in the heavyweight division against like Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua or anybody else, no, he gets annihilated. I'm very surprised he signed this fight.
I was shocked he signed this fight. I texted my buddy Bo because Bo follows boxing really well, and I texted him. I was like, dude, we might see a death. And he said the same thing. He's like, I cannot believe he agreed to that fight. But the numbers, the numbers that are, nobody knows the true payouts. They're saying it's around $200 million that they're splitting evenly. So they're getting about $100 million each. He said that it was $267 million. So I don't know who you believe or don't believe, or it could be they're splitting 200 and the 67 delta, they had to pay DAZN because Anthony Joshua has a contract with DAZN. And this fight's going to be on Netflix. DAZN.
It's DAZN.
So they, which makes, how the hell?
Please stop saying DAZN, okay?
DAZN.
That's like Saint Benoit, okay?
Where's the O in DAZN?
Sean Jones observes a face-off and notes the dynamic as Jake Paul tries to assert dominance. While Jake projects confidence, The atmosphere visibly changes the moment Joshua steps forward. Jones points out that intimidation rarely affects fighters who have competed in championship bouts before large audiences. He advises that Joshua avoid adding extra pressure on himself, explaining that overthinking or forcing action can disrupt the fighter's rhythm. According to Sean, Joshua performs best when he lets the fight flow naturally, allowing opportunities to present themselves instead of trying to dictate every moment. This approach reduces mistakes and maximizes his effectiveness in the ring.
In terms of his skill, Tyson Fury shines, and that's the movement, that long reach, the height, just the skill gap is insane. Tyson Fury would dance circles around Jake. He could beat Jake with one hand. Right, Joshua talks about how he's only focused on this fight. He's not overlooking Jake. There's nothing else booked for him. And he talks about some of the potential dangers of fighting Jake Paul.
Who are those opponents lined up for you in 2026?
My focus is on Jake Paul.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Is that true though? Do you have those 2 fights lined up already?
They're not signed, they're not sealed, but they're opportunities really. They're just opportunities in the game. But my main focus as signed and sealed is Jake Paul, so that's all I've got in front of me.
Do you agree with the assessment that if this fight goes longer than the Ngannou fight, it's kind of a...
No, Jake's a completely different fighter to Ngannou. Ngannou and Jake are completely different animals, so I can't compare the two together. Ngannou's never boxed before either. Jake's boxed before. They're just different. Ngannou's a lot more slower, but a lot bigger and more powerful. Jake's quicker. Jake boxes in a completely different style. Ngannou's more upright. He can switch his southpaw and orthodox. Jake doesn't really do that. They're completely different fighters, if I'm honest with you. So I'm not trying to compare. At the end of the day, it's just what happens at the end of the night. I'm not in there to try and knock Jake out in 10 seconds or 8 rounds. I'm going to go in there and do a job. I want to really hurt him in the ring.
I think that's an important perspective that Joshua should keep going into this fight, is to not try and look for the knockout within a particular round. Do your thing. Forget about what Jake's doing. You're far more experienced. You're far more skilled. Don't put too much unnecessary pressure on yourself, because that's when sometimes you can throw a spanner in the works of your own game plan, because you've committed to this set prediction. And that's a sign of maturity there from Joshua. He's fighting Jake Paul. He could come in here and say, Jake's crap. I'm going to knock his head off. First round knockout, but he's not saying any of that. So they go back and forth for a little bit. Joshua just talks about how he's really focused. Then Ariel announces this fight is also taking place on the same card. Anderson Silva versus Tyron Woodley. Very interesting. I don't mind that matchup. I actually think within the realm of boxing and talking about retired MMA fighters, this is a pretty decent, even matchup. Anderson Silva, one of the best to ever do it in MMA, one of my favourite fighters, but he's getting a little bit old now against Tyron Woodley. Once again, an absolute...
Darren Barker studies the Faceoff footage closely and points out that Jake Paul frequently avoids direct eye contact. Barker explains that maintaining eye contact is often a way for fighters to project confidence and assert readiness. He notes that Jake looks away multiple times, which hints at the psychological pressure of facing a true heavyweight. Meanwhile, Joshua remains composed and steady, while Jake subtly shifts his stance. Barker suggests that Jake appears very aware of the threat posed by the man standing across from him. This observation underscores how this matchup represents a level of challenge Jake has never faced before.
I'd rather just say, look, do you know what? This is a smash and grab. You can't blame me for taking this, but I'm sorry, Jake. You're going to get badly beaten up here. You're going to get badly,
He did say
badly
words to
beaten
that
up.
effect in interviews afterwards.
Yeah, oh, did he?
Yeah,
All right.
he did, yeah. But it is
Because that's
essentially
the case. That's the case.
There's a moment, though, it made me laugh. There's a moment where they do the face-off one-on-one like that, and then they turn to the side. Jake keeps on looking at his eyes, and then Joshua just goes like that, and Jake goes like that.
Does he?
Yeah, which I'd have done as well, by the way. But that look told me that he knows he's so far in over above his head.
And what was the other thing he said? He's willing to die in there, Jake Paul.
Yeah, well, he fucking will. He will. He's a knobhead. He's about. There's no jokes aside. He genuinely could die.
Chael Sonnen delivers his trademark no-nonsense analysis, questioning whether Jake Paul's approach is truly brave or bordering on reckless. While he acknowledges the boldness of taking on such a formidable opponent, Sonnen emphasizes that courage without thorough preparation can be dangerous. He notes that Jake may be motivated more by fame and spectacle than by a full understanding of the challenge he faces. In Sonnen's view, heavyweights carry immense power, and every punch has real consequences that can extend far beyond the fight itself. He stops short calling Jake foolish, but highlights the narrow line between valor and ignorance. Ultimately, Sonnen believed the outcome will depend on how rigorously Jake prepares and whether he fully respects the threat standing across the ring.
Francis Ngannou performance. What if Jake makes it 5 rounds, 6 rounds? What if Jake made it to the distance? What if Jake won a round? Now, it's very hard to believe. It's very hard to imagine. I think it's the big struggle with this fight. I cannot, off the top of my head, produce a fight for you in any form of unarmed combat that drew, that was exciting, where the audience did not have a reasonable expectation, an expectation to some degree that, well, if he does this or that, there is a way for this guy to win. And that's usually pretty easy to do because nobody knows anything about fighting. Nobody watching this right now, none of you, my millions of viewers, not one of you has ever boxed. Not one of you knows someone in the family. Well, my dad was a boxer, my uncle was a boxer. No, you don't. Not only are you not a boxer, you don't even know of a boxer. Now, I only share that because when I come out and say nobody knows what they're talking about when they're talking about boxing, like, it's not meant to be an insult. You don't know anything about boxing. It was never taught to you. None of you in recess boxed. None of your junior highs, your high schools, your colleges, your community colleges offered boxing. Your hometown didn't have a boxing gym. Now really think about that. Because as much as you love the sport and as much as you think that you understand it, not only do you not understand it, you can't even have a conversation with other people who do because they don't understand it. So what is a win? I think that time counts. I think that time is a very big deal. You're in that little bitty ring, and I know a guy can run backwards, but running backwards is not illegal in boxing.
Adam Catterall shares his thoughts in a calm, measured tone. He acknowledges Jake Paul's growth as a boxer and the strong brand he has built, but he cautions that progress has its boundaries. While Jake has clearly developed skills and experience, Catterall emphasizes that there are still natural limits when facing elite opponents, particularly those in the heavyweight division.
Fight, is it? We'll hear some proper talk then. If Anthony Joshua doesn't knock out Jake Paul within 6 minutes, it's embarrassing. Not only for him, but also for the sport of boxing. And if he does knock him out within 6 minutes, because it's a proper fight, boxing better pray that there's no lasting damage to Jake Paul. The phrase, fuck around and find out, springs to mind. This is not a game. You don't play boxing. Especially not with a 2-time unified heavyweight world champion in his athletic prime. If you're gonna deal with clowns...
Fraser Clark provides an interesting perspective, noting that facing an unconventional opponent can create unusual challenges. He explains that Anthony Joshua may need to adjust to Jake Paul's movement, which doesn't resemble a typical heavyweight boxer. Such unpredictability can briefly disrupt rhythm, even for elite fighters. However, Clark emphasizes that Joshua's skill, strength, and experience will ultimately dominate. While he respects Jake for taking the challenge, Clark sees no realistic scenario in which Jake can match Joshua's natural advantages.
What is that? I mean, would you like to be involved in another fight like that? People say you don't get paid for overtime in boxing. So a first round knockout is always nice, but you see you welcome a fight like that Fabio first fight.
If it has to go there, it has to go there. But I'm all for an head in the high. I'm all for getting home. I'm all for getting home before Emmerdale, me.
No, there you go. Well, you're always you're main event now, so you'll be 10 o'clock, so you're not getting home before Emmerdale. Couple more before I let you go, Fraze. I've got to talk to you about this. It'll be remiss of me not to. Anthony Joshua is fighting Jake Paul. Now, if it goes past the first round, would you be disappointed?
No, because what you got to realise as well, like, I'm not sure how much of a mover he is. I've not watched too much of Jake Paul boxing, to be fair. But again, people won't understand when I say this. When you're boxing someone lesser than you, it can sometimes become awkward. And I know people are going to say, nah, look at the size of him. And yeah, AJ probably should be getting done in one round, but this guy's going to be awkward. He's going to feel, he might even block a shot, and then he's going to think, fuck this, I'm not getting any more of them. He'll be on his bike. AJ obviously should be good enough to close him down and pound him to death. Not to death, but pound him, you know what I mean? But maybe 2 rounds. Maybe the first shot, I don't know.
Well, you said there, one final one for me, Fraser, because you probably want to just get some food in you now. Even though you're a heavyweight.
I just had food before we weighed in.
You mentioned there that you want to get home before Emmerdale, but you want to be in fantastic fights. That being said, you're up against TKV. He's a good opponent. What can we expect? I mean, you're going to be headlining the first fight on the BBC for the first time in 20 odd years. What can we expect? What can the fans expect from you that are watching on BBC?
Listen, I've worked hard. I'm not sure how I looked on the pictures, but I'm in the best shape I've been in.
That's all for today's video. Be sure to stay tuned for more updates and analysis in our next episode.